What do you need first thing on a Monday morning? An email scam that's quite convincing. We're going to go through that scam, show you exactly the things to watch out for. These tips can be used against any other email scams, but this one's pretty good. So, first thing this morning, we've got an email coming from a client. Is this legit? We love our clients doing that to double check, because if they're not sure, we'd rather they ask and not fall for the scams. Well, this is the email. What you'll see on that is, the first thing is it comes from Microsoft.com. Well, an email coming from Microsoft.com, actually, that should be pretty genuine, because Microsoft has their DMARC set up. That means you can't spoof an email coming from Microsoft.com. Maybe it's because of the subdomain, email.formspro. Again, Microsoft has that set up all on the DMARC to make sure emails coming from them, having their name, the Microsoft.com at the end, have to be from their servers. So how's this one come through? Well, Microsoft, when they send emails, will send, if they're sort of alert ones, will send from support.microsoft.com. There's a couple of domains they use for official emails. This is not one of them. This is the more customer-based one when sending from some of their systems. So email.formspro.microsoft.com. Email.formspro is usually used with Microsoft Dynamics or Microsoft Forms, both of which you can create an invitation email to send to people for them to fill in a form, fill in a survey, whatever your CRM request might be. And if you've not put on your vanity domain, it will come from Microsoft's email. This is one of the big pushes that Microsoft has, that Google's been doing with the email changes. So now we've got an email that's legitimately come from Microsoft servers, legitimately got Microsoft's branding on there, but is a scam email sent by somebody. So if we can't check on the email to see that this scam has come from a gmail.com address or someone's personal BT internet type address, what do we do next? Well, the next thing I want to show you is this. The message is from a trusted sender. Now, that's actually part of the email. That's not something Outlook has bolted on or Google has bolted on when you've received it. And we can see that here for a couple of reasons. So, for starters, it's part of the message. It's not above the message. It's not a bar that's just been appended to the very top of the email, shoving the email down or lower. It's actually in the body of the message. And you can see that because it's right next to the green bar. The second thing is, look at the G, the U, and the N. They are all larger in size. So if we look here, and I'll just zoom this in, the G, the U, the N, I don't get why scammers do this, because they make this email even more convincing if they just kept the font size the same throughout their message. Why make 3 random characters of font size bigger? So as you can see, this the text is size 10 and that text is size 12. Don't get the point, but nobody is going to legitimately do that in a normal email. Certainly not a professional email, not from Microsoft services. So always watch out for that. If you see certain random characters that have just been increased in font size, no, it's going to be a non-legit email. So then we also can look at the message body. Now, this did have the logo up there. Because the email's been forwarded, some of the graphics hasn't come through. But so it's got Microsoft's logo, Microsoft 365, undeliverable, mail delivery failed. Due to the recent mail server authentication mitigation upgrade. That sounds good. A nice bit of Star Trek technobabble. Well, actually, why have we got a random UN upgrade? Not always the most convincing, but again, if it's coming from something like Microsoft, it's coming from an official service that looks like an automated email, they're generally pretty good with the spelling. I do know that in sort of normally written emails, we can have the occasional random capital happen at the beginning of words, as if they were a name, but you wouldn't expect it from Microsoft. Authentication mitigation doesn't quite make sense. Now, it would potentially, to a user, you might go, oh, it's done something. To an IT person, no, that doesn't make sense. And we would be alerted. It's always a benefit to work with an IT person looking after your Microsoft account with you, because they'll alert you to these things. They'll get the alerts off Microsoft. They'll pass those alerts on better in more English language. 3 incoming messages are being held for you to review in your mailbox. To avoid the mail malfunction, view and restore immediately. And then there's a link for the restore messages. Now, Microsoft does have a quarantine section, but their emails are very different. And one of the things we did is we've sent emails to all our clients to say, this is what it looks like. The legitimate version looks like when emails are held in quarantine. But this is sort of implying the emails you've sent out have failed, but their messages that have come in. So there's a little bit of contradiction here. But when you're seeing about mails, delivery and failure, you might be thinking their emails are sent out to prospects and clients, so you're panicked. There may be emails coming in from your prospects or clients. You're panicked because those are the most important communications. And that's what it wants to play on. Cause confusion. You don't quite necessarily get what it's trying to say, but you know there's some emails that haven't gone to where they're supposed to go, but clicking that button will help. Okay. If we've just missed some of the, let's say the font size changes, the capitals, it's pretty good on a sort of a level of convincing and easy for someone running through it to quickly go through it. Well, let's have a look at the next tip. Hover over the hyperlink. Don't click, hover. And the reason I say about hover is because it will show you where it's going to go. And this one goes to forms.gle/whatever. Now, that is a sort of like a bit.ly. It's where it shrinks down the web address it's going to go to and redirect you somewhere else. But by using forms.gle, well, that links a bit to Forms Pro, so it could still be convincing. At this point of an unknown, ask your IT. One of the reasons of having IT is you can just send it to them and say, what's going on with this? However, if you don't have IT, you might get tempted to click on it. And this is one of the things, staff might click on it because they don't quite get it. They don't have anybody to send it to or check it with, so they click on the link. So if they click on the link, what happens? Well, clicking on that link won't, yes, there are dangers, but usually it's going to be a phishing scam. So the idea is they want to steal your username and password. So we've clicked on the link. Where's it gone to? Right, well, it's gone up to here. Docs.google.com. Now, the scams are getting a little bit more sophisticated because they're not rushing to steal off you. They're not getting you to click on the link and immediately say, give me your username and password. They want to convince you a bit more by having a bit of a back and forth dialogue. So here's their first part of their dialogue. There's a privacy statement. Well, Microsoft, of course, is going to have a privacy statement because they're a big organization and, everybody has these privacy statements and we're so used to them and only the official place to do. Why would a scammer give a privacy statement? What I didn't notice the very first time I looked at this was actually this web page is huge of blank information. Because why? They've just hidden the Google form bit at the very bottom because who's going to scroll down through a load of white space? It's just not rendered correctly on the page. It's not shown correctly on the page. Oh, it's been a little bit of a mistake on there. But yeah, look. It's got a submit button to submit on this form. But it's a Google form that's been done inside the Google Docs. Again, using these forms methods to do it. But it's hidden it right at the bottom so you're not having to worry. And make sure there's enough text to generally fill a HD screen. If you're on 4K, you'd have probably seen that much white at the bottom, which again is why they've had to really shove it down there, because who's going to scroll through all that white? At this stage, again, nothing there. But why would Microsoft store at Google? At this point, it's a scam. Close it. Get rid. But you might not look. You might not check up there. Always, that's the big test before anything's entered. Always look at the web address. But let's say we forget that and we click continue sign in. Now, this shows why it's so important to have good internet security on your systems in your web browsers. Because I click on continue. Now, this actually shows slightly where they actually have they've actually changed this, because this morning when I did it, I had the email notice around 7 o'clock in the morning was the email was received. We tested this out at 9 o'clock this morning and it did exactly that. I actually made a typo and this is my second recording of this video. When I did it last time and I clicked on that link, it took me through to a dangerous web page warning. But because they've done the privacy thing in a form at Google that they've got access to, they've changed the link from what it was this morning. So while the spam has all been reported back to the internet security companies that have all then put into their web browser scanners, this is a dangerous link, they've now gone and changed the link. So in the matter of 3 hours, the scam had been caught by the internet security companies and made to flash up a big red danger screen. An hour later, they've already bypassed it with using a different address to link it to this dynamics.com. So assetsure.market.dynamics.com. And on here, it's got MFA verification. We're used to these verifications, although this isn't multi-factor authentication. Multi-factor authentication would send you to your phone because you need something separate to what's on the screen. I mean, a scammer can easily type in YRXXG to pass it. But it's got Microsoft Authentication logo on there. And I can see what the background that looks like Outlook, and I can see Microsoft's logo. So people might be falling for this as legitimate. And Dynamics, I've heard of that term at Microsoft, Dynamics, Microsoft Dynamics. So where is this hosted? Don't quite know, but it's something just trying to get us to fill in. But it's not multi-factor authentication. Multi-factor authentication means you've got something somewhere else to enter in. However, they only are ever needed after you've entered an email address or password, because it's your second key to the door. But we're still not rushing to steal your credentials. We're convincing you that this is legitimate because, well, this isn't going to help a scammer because, you know, this code would change every single time. So a person types it and going, yeah, I'm used to these. I'm not a bot. It's real. We're used to that. We look at it. We might even miss the MFA verification bit and just look at that going, yeah, I've just got to prove I'm a human. So we go to the continue sign in. Let's see. Yeah, this is the error I had before, but so they've not updated it for this site yet. So I am going to load it and let you see where it goes. But notice, first thing is it goes to this office xdmb.xwhve.duckdns.org. But I'm going to visit the unsafe site. Now it's forwarded me to somewhere else. I'm going to visit again. And now I'm at the Microsoft screen. So if your internet security tool hadn't spotted that and blocked that, when you filled in that code, you'd have been taken straight to here, which gave you the animation of, we're trying to sign you in. Oh, we failed. We need your details. So you think, I've just given my multi-factor authentication. Bloody technology. It's not signed me in. I've got to log in. So you've now been convinced several steps through that everything's legitimate. You've had a privacy statement, you've had an MFA bit, you've done this, and now you're at the login screen. So now you've been distracted from all the signs that would indicate it's fake. Because you're so rushed to get these emails, you're now focused on this area. And that's part of the scam. It is that little bit of misdirection. So by not rushing you for details, because that's what scammers do, we've given you a little bit of they've given you a little bit of a play about to now make you focus on this rather than coming up here and having a look at here, which again is whenever you're typing in an email address or password, always look at the web address you're filling in. So login.xwhveceqndvw.duckdns.org, and then it's got the common auth 2, and actually I do see an office.com up here. Or maybe it's just something that they use for verification. I'll fill it in. So actually, no, this is a complete scam. It's always this. This is who you're sending your data to. Okay, that's how it works. The office bit is, it tells you there, it's redirecting. Now you may think, I've got one of these really funky backgrounds that as soon as I type my email address in, I get a very personalized branded background. You know, you might have it with GoDaddy, you might have it with some of the universities that they often do. You might have it in your business where this background will change as soon as they know you're signing into your tenant. That will get redirected as well. What this scam does is this. You are talking to this web server. That web server is going to Microsoft, grabbing the visuals and forwarding it to you. So you will fill in this information and it will pass that back to Microsoft, and Microsoft will send you the next screen, which will send you, and then you'll pass that in. It's relaying that information, but it's monitoring everything in the middle. It's capturing everything in the middle. So if you type your email address and your password in, it now knows your email and password. Okay, so email off to Microsoft, comes back, gives you your nice pretty screen if you've got different things set up there, and then asks you, so you're more convinced it's genuine. You type in your password, that goes off, they've captured a copy of that. Then Microsoft will try and authenticate. So you'll get your ping on your phone through Microsoft Authenticator. And on your screen, it will show you the number you need to enter. So you type in whatever it might be. Approve, sign in, done. And you're now signed into your Microsoft World, and you'll carry on as normal, except you won't know where these emails are that you're trying to release. And so you'll be scratching your head, what's going on there? How does this work? So we've now sort of, it'll be difficult, potentially give up. It might send you to the quarantine page, in which case you can see emails in there and the quarantine. That'd be really clever of them if they did that, because you'd see emails in your quarantine, get those released. But what use is that to the scammer? Because if the scammer's got your email address and password, they still can't get into your account, because they would have to have your authentication off your phone. They'd have to have you approve it, and you'd have to see the number when they were trying to log in. That's not the case. With this type of scam, what happens is, do you notice when you log into sort of Facebook, when you log into Microsoft, you don't have to always type in your password as you jump between pages. You might even turn the PC off, come back at the following day, you go to office.com, you're already signed in. You go to facebook.com, you've already signed in. When was the last time you actually typed in your username and password, your email and password, to log into Facebook? We don't. We're already signed in. We have what's called a session cookie that's stored on the computer. And what it is it's essentially, you've done the handshake with the server to say, I'm legitimate, I've signed in. They've gone, yes, you are. Here's your authenticate, here's your fast pass in. They're giving you a fast pass that's stored on your computer. That means you can just show that, go straight into the front of the queue, don't need to log in. That's your session cookie. Now, as I just said, everything you send to Microsoft goes via here, and everything Microsoft sends to you goes via here. So what happens is they send you your session cookie, which your computer stores, but they've now got a copy of it, which they can use in their web browser to prove I'm already logged in. And Microsoft go, you are, you've got a fast pass, get in. And then they'll be able to use it. They won't need your username and password. They won't need your authentication code from the phone, because they've already got a copy of that FastPass key that shows you're already in there, because you've already done the approving when you did this login. Now they're in your account. They can do your emails. They can access your emails. They can send emails. They can look at your files. They can browse whatever you have access to. And this is one of the reasons Cyber Essentials say you should not be admin, global admin of your accounts on your user profile. Always have that external account. That's the benefit, because if you were global admin and they got that details, they now pretty much control your entire Microsoft building. They can do whatever, they can lock you all out. It can be a nightmare to get back into. Again, benefits of working with IT, you've got somebody to double check on. They will always have access. It stops. Your accounts will be user accounts, so you won't be able to end up losing access to your whole tenant. That's how this scam works. But it's a very good one, because the email came from Microsoft. So very easy for people to fall for it. The link sends you to privacy statements and all things like that, that stuff we're fed up of seeing, which makes you feel it's more legitimate, because why would scammers do that? And then it sends you to a site that does a redirection, which will keep a copy of everything sent between you and Microsoft, including that session key, so they stay logged in. Watch out for those scams. It might not be the email that gives it away. Watch out for the spellings. Watch out for the hyperlink, and always, always check the web address of whatever it is you're typing in when you're typing in an email or password.